we're interviewing Lisa here, who is going to chat to us about her business and just about life in general, and hopefully help a whole lot of other people out there that are going through being photographers, mums, doing the whole deal, trying to balance work and life and everything. So we hope this is of benefit to everyone else. So Lisa, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself? I was going to say your last name, but I'm not sure I pronounce it right, so I might get you to say it.
That's okay. It's Ivandich. But yeah, I don't mind how you say it. It was my husband's name, not mine, so it doesn't matter. I've been a professional photographer for about 6 years now. And before then, I've always been a photographer, just not done it for money. Like a lot of people, since my daughter was born, it became the best way to have a supplement income and still be around. But in the last 18 months, it's turned around. My husband has left his role to start up his own business, which isn't making any money. So I've become the sole income earner for our family, and we're a fairly average family. We have 2 kids, a mortgage, one's in school, one's in daycare a couple of days a week. So we have your generally normal household expenses.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's been a bit of a change over the last 18 months.
So how do you find that pressure of being that sole income earner and balancing all of that?
It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Obviously, we made a joint decision at the time, and I'd been running for a good sort of 4 or 5 years, so we knew the potential was there.
Yeah.
And when we started, we made sure we had a safety net in case it didn't work. But it did. We more than made the target, so it's not been too bad. But I'd probably say for the first year, while financially I made it, emotionally or work-life balance, I didn't. So it wasn't, I worked too much. There wasn't enough balance there for that first year.
Okay. So how many years have you been doing it now?
I've been 6 years in total, and being the sort of sole income earner for 18 months of
18
that.
months. So now you're sort of into your second year of being the sole income earner. What sort of things have you changed to improve that work-life balance? And
yeah, the biggest thing has been time planning. So I basically, when you're just working casually, and I sort of slotted people in when it fitted, and it didn't really matter, and there was no real structure to my working week, and it didn't really matter before. But I found that now life was just getting too crazy. I was getting fat. I wasn't exercising. I like my food, so I was just grabbing all my crap, too much chocolate, all those sorts of things. So basically, I sat down and I worked out my plan. See, I have it stuck up behind my computer so I don't forget. It's called The Plan. And it just put some structure into my day. So I sat down and I worked out everything that I do in business and things that I also want to prioritize in life. So it wasn't just business, and roughly how much time I needed for that. Yep. Like most people out there, I had a few problems. There wasn't enough days, so it didn't all fit. So it took some massaging and a few things trading off to get it to work. But I have settled down into a routine. So essentially, I've got, you probably can't even see, but I've got sort of a day school hours roster, and I've got an afternoon evening schedule. So, for example, for my days, on Mondays, I book all my sales sessions. Because this is my studio, I shoot up against that firewall over there. Oh, you can't see it very well. It's a bit close. And I also do sales sessions. So it takes reconfiguring from a shoot to a sales session. So before, when I was being haphazard, I was possibly reconfiguring 3 or 4 times a week. Yep. So now I do sales on Mondays, and I try to do all my sales sessions on a Monday if I can. So I only have to reconfigure the studio once. It's not a big deal, but it all helps. On Tuesdays, even though I'm working full time, my son's only 3. He'll nearly be 4. He's not at school yet. Yep. Tuesdays, I try to spend that day with him. So I take him to a kids in sport. He does get dragged around to pick up prints and drop things off. But Tuesdays, I've kept clear as being a day for my son, Zach. Wednesdays, I try to book all my shoots on a Wednesday where I can. So obviously, morning shoots outside, midday I'm in the studio, and in the afternoon, if I need to do a sunset shoot, because I do a lot of families. I don't shoot weddings, by the way, so that takes weddings out of the equation. I'm solely portraits. So I do sort of that. Thursdays, this is very important. I keep that clear for business, admin, and marketing. Okay. Now, this has only been in place for a couple of months, so there's been a little bit of teething to get there, but on the whole, Thursdays I keep clear to work on my business rather than in my business. And Friday is printing, and Friday is also my shoot overflow day or my sales overflow day. So if I like someone and they really have to come in a different time or too many babies come that week, Friday's my overflow day. Saturdays and Sundays for weekends, I have a rule. I will only shoot one day of the weekend. And in our family, it doesn't matter which day that is. So I take the first bookings. So when I'm talking to someone, if they say, I want this weekend and Saturday works for me, or I haven't put in a personal engagement, then any shoots I book have to be on that Saturday. Nothing is going in on the Sunday.
Yeah.
And then it's the same with the evenings. I was working too many evenings. I was doing too many things. So I try now. Fridays I won't work because I used to enjoy having a bottle of wine with my husband and just mucking around, just watching TV. So Fridays are now set. I keep that free. I try not to work in the evening on weekends at all, and all those sorts of things. So if I have to do an evening sales session, it has to also be on a Monday. An evening shoot is also on a Wednesday. So in my rules, there is the time with my husband, the time with my family. The weekends is also my daughter. There's also rules about fitness and exercise when I'm supposed to be going out and doing all those sorts of things. Kind of dropped the ball just a little bit the last few months, but that has nothing to do with business. It's in there, it's in the plan, so it should be happening. So that's essentially what I've done, and I've been surprised how easy it is to implement because I really thought I wouldn't be able to fit people in. And it's really extraordinarily rare that I can't get someone in to the date that I want. And I'm actually finding that rather than doing 50 things in 1 week, I'm now booked solid for 6 or 7 weeks, as opposed to, oh, okay, you really want it this week, I can fit you in. No, I just say, unless it's a newborn, now I just say, oh, look, I'm really sorry, I'm booked up until the next Wednesday I have free is this, will that suit you? Oh, actually, yeah, that'll be fine, they all say. So it was scary. It was really scary to start doing it, but it's working really, really well, and it's brought a lot of balance back.
Fantastic.
Which is good.
Yeah, excellent. And so you've seen in your family life, you've seen that improvement as well, obviously, not just in the business. So yeah,
there has been. I mean, the biggest part about the schedule is I've got on there in big words, be flexible. You're the boss. So sometimes things aren't going to work. Sometimes I have to go into the school on one of those days, so I might swap them around. This week is a great week. I have a retoucher. That's part. I've done that since I went full-time earning money. I can't do all the retouching and turn over the funds that I'm going to do. She's sick this week. So I've got 3 days of extra work that I've got to fit in. But something wonderful happened in the universe, and the school sports carnival on Friday got cancelled because of bad weather. So I actually have an extra day, which is good. I found it just means I'm more, rather than getting up in the morning and trying to get the kids ready for school and madly doing all my work, I'm not, because I know when I'm supposed to be doing it. I'm happier, I'm less stressed, and I feel a little bit less like a scattered cat, so it helps.
Okay, excellent. With your retoucher, do you actually send files to them? Do they work in your place, or how does that work?
Yeah, she's work from home. She used to be a homeschool mum, but her daughter decided she wanted to go to school. She works from her home, so we just use Dropbox. And she was a graphic designer, so I trained her in my style.
Fantastic. That's good, because I think people want to know that, it seems like a big step for some people to outsource and to get other people to edit them, something that's so personal. So
it is. It's hard, and it was hard to let go, but basically what she does is, because I do portraits, everything gets pretty much retouched before you see it. So I will do the culling, I will do the cropping, and I will do the blog post images. And then I will send them all to her with specific instructions, and she will do them, she'll send them back. After they're ordered, I will do the printing, which is the final 10 or 20%. So still nothing is going out that I haven't seen. So I haven't totally let go, but it works for me.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Do a similar thing with the outsourcing as well. So feeling like, it is hard at first to give it up, but it's so freeing to not have to do it. And
some images will come back and you're like, eek, that's not quite right. But you know what? It doesn't matter, because 9 times out of 10, that might not be what they order.
Exactly.
So it's okay.
Yeah, that's right. Now, I think I'm just looking at what else we were going to chat about. You were talking to me just vaguely about social media and where that fits.
That was the other big change. After I not had a mental breakdown, but after I had a regular spaz attack is probably the best way of putting it. You know, one evening, this isn't working, I'm working too much, I don't have a life, blah, 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 all the usual stuff. Part of learning to switch off, learning that you're not always in your business, is I have turned off every single notifier on my phone, my laptop, my iPad. I have the works.
Wow.
I was the kind of person who would get down to the school to pick someone up, and before I would talk to someone, I would see if any emails had come in.
Yes.
You know, you might think I'm looking to see the time, but I'm seeing what emails have come in, what's Facebook messaging, what's this, what's that. As I'm working, things would bling up on the screen, or a tiny little thing up here. Or I turn every single one of them off, and as well as helping me work more efficiently. I mean, I still go in during the day. I mean, I'm still on Facebook, but it's my choice to go in.
Yeah.
And when I'm out and about and at home, my phone doesn't ding. Nothing comes up on the screen. And I can actually go a whole weekend now without opening my email. It's a bit hard because I'm a little bit of an addict, but it's been the biggest freer to learn that, you know, things can wait. I don't have to get to an email. I try with emails on my little rules is first thing in the morning, I try and set the buzzer for half hour, get in, do what I can do, and then do it again maybe at lunchtime and again maybe at the end of the day. You know, and just stop going in, because that 10 minutes you're looking in at your email and not replying, thinking I'm going to reply to that later, you could have gotten 10 minutes further down with your actual work.
That's right.
So, and as far as being more less cranky with my kids during the 3 to 7 when they're home from school, it's massive, because I'm not, oh, hang on, mummy's just reading this email. I haven't read a client, you know, not that I get many client complaints, I'm quite fortunate, but I haven't seen a tricky one come in that distracts me and makes me cranky or things like that. And I guess the final thing on that as well is a little bit, I went to the What If conference, which is a little bit of an airy-fairy thing a few months ago. And one of the biggest things that came out of that was just reminding myself that I'm a grown-up and I can choose how I react to things, and I can choose what bothers me. And when these sorts of things, I was letting them get too much into my everyday life, you know, a bad client, crappy sale. Happens to everyone. It's not personal. It's not about me. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but compared to how I was 6 months ago, I'm switching off 100% better. I'm trying to teach my husband to do the same, and I'm trying not to let things get to me quite so much. And it's a massive improvement just being the happy mum at home rather than the cranky mum again. Yeah,
that's good. That healthy, and I need to do more of that too. I think
I
have turned off the notifications on Facebook on my phone, and I found that helps. But it also helps the battery life on the iPhone as well. So
that's good. That's awesome.
Now, pricing, I know that on the Pro Photo Mums, people have been chatting a bit about setting prices and people setting prices too low and all of that sort of thing, and how do you kind of value your work and how do you set prices? How have you found that? You know, you're doing it as a sole income, so it's important, really important.
Yeah, it's very important. There are only so many hours of day that I can work. At this stage, I may have a business, but what I really have is a job. I have a job. It's if I suddenly fell off the face of the earth tomorrow, this would not continue producing income at this stage. So anything that I do, I'm aiming to, you know, make a certain amount to keep my family going. So I think way back in the early days, I definitely undervalued myself like everybody else. But very, very quickly, you need to work out it's basic business initially. When you're not trying to support your family, you just to start with basic business. So, you know, work out what are your direct and indirect costs of being a business. So, you know, how much do you need for your insurance? How much do you need for your equipment? How much do you need? Work it out on an annual basis. And also work out replacing stuff. Work out upgrading stuff. So, you know, in my budgets, my computer gets replaced every 3 years, my camera body every 2 to 3 years, a new lens every year. It might not always happen, but those sorts of factors are put into my annual budget. And then you work out, so that, you know, so say, for example, you plan to do 20 shoots in a year, in your first year, you know, you're keeping it quite small. And you might work out that the first $200 you earn off every shoot just goes to paying for the business and nothing else. nothing at all. Now, my business costs also include competitions like the APPAs, which are starting tomorrow, because I love that. It also includes an annual conference, because that's important to me to keep things going on. It also includes subscriptions. It also includes a lot of the things I see people saying they just can't afford. This year I did 2 conferences, one interstate and one overseas, and, you know, quite easily replaced my computer, all those sorts of things. And it was in the budget. It was never in doubt that it could be done. So basically, say, for example, you've worked out that the first $200 of every shoot is your business costs. You then need to work out what's your cost of doing that shoot. So, you know, petrol, printing, it's all very, very minor. But, you know, essentially when you price your products, make sure that you're paying yourself a wage. Otherwise, really, you should just go work at Macca's or stock shelves, because there'll be a lot less heartache. You'll be able to switch off when you get home, and you'll love your family a whole lot more. I see it that, okay, I love photography, obviously. I'm entering awards. I'm doing creative shoots just for fun, just for me. But I'm also running a business here. And, you know, like right now, my kids are being read stories by their dad, not me. And so every time I'm away from my kids, I need to be compensated for that. And that's okay. I deserve to be compensated. It's all good. My clients would expect to be compensated for their job, so I am for me. So I'm okay with the charging. The way I worked it, once I realised that I had to leave, I had to earn the money, was I flipped it around a little bit. By then I had worked up my average sale to a reasonable level. It was about $1,500. So I worked out all right, and I knew roughly $1,000 of that, I forget now, was profit. So I worked out how much money our family needed to live for a year, and I backwards calculated how many shoots I needed to ensure that I got. And then I sort of divided it into a monthly basis, just so that I knew throughout the year I was on track, and we didn't get to the end of the 12 months and go, ooh, crap, we're 50 grand in the hole. Because again, I'd have shut up shop and gone and worked at Coles and stacked shelves. Once I worked out how many sessions I needed to do based on my current average profit, and I was conservative. I wasn't doing my planning on a reach target, because then that would have put undue pressure on myself. So I said, right now, currently, I'm comfortably earning this amount per shoot, which at the time was $1,500, and at the same time, I was focusing most of my business training expense and my conferences and all that sort of stuff on learning how to improve that. So I've successfully learned more. So I've got my average sale up even higher from there. And part of that as well is been massaging my products, working out what I love to sell, because that's the hardest part. None of us are salespeople. I hated selling. And now I'm actually finding it's really not hard at all, because I'm not going into a sales session saying, right, I've got to make, I think my average is 2,200 at the moment. I've got to make 2,200, otherwise I'm going to get upset. I don't do that. I go in and say, right, what is it that you want? What do you want to do with these photos that you love? And I go in there, and I basically am going in there to make sure that my client is happy. And it is surprising that the high percentage of the time, what actually makes them happy is quite high-end product. I do sell digital files. I don't have a problem with digital files. And I do have clients that just take the digital files, and I do price them so that it's worth my time. But what I find is my clients who buy wall portraits, my profit might be slightly lower, even though the turnover is slightly higher. They come back more often. So I will always continue to offer both, because there's both aspects of the market there. And I am finding lately there's been an increase in clients that really don't give a rat's about the digital anymore. They want someone who can help them design the perfect product with their images. So
it is interesting. It sort of continues to change, I think, and as photographers we really just need to be aware of what's happening in the marketplace, and work out the best way forward, because it's not always going to be the same.
Exactly.
Year, so.
And I'm always happy to change. I'm always happy to move things around. If something isn't working, I'll move it on. I'll try something else. I've got, as I talk to people, I'll go, I might try that and see how that works. And the interesting thing is, I've got, as most people out there, I've got a lot of friends who are photographers and even in similar fields. And while we may reach the same level of turnover, we sell completely different things. And I think that just comes down to, I sell a bucket load of canvases, and I'm now selling a bucket load of albums. They're obviously the products I love. They're right above me over here. And that's what walks out the door. So whereas I have other clients who sell, friends who sell different things. So don't go and ask all your nearest competitors for their prices and think that must be what I need to sell, because it's not going to work for you.
Exactly.
You need to work out what you love to sell, what your photography style leads you to, and sell that.
Exactly. And as you said, have it in so they can see it, they can feel it, they can look at it, because they're not going to buy something they can't see. So
that's right.
The demo of the product, you'll sell
it.
Yep. That's it.
And I can't see my video link, so I don't know if this is going to work. But you can see, tell me if you can see, this is to the right in my viewing room.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's some giant canvas collections up on the wall.
Yep. Can see those.
Yeah. So that's, I think, one of the main reasons that I sell a bucket load of canvases.
Yeah.
And I hand them an album now when I walk in.
Uh-huh.
And during the session, I might drop in how my kids love to read the albums of themselves and these special books. And, you know, I've just learnt that right from the minute they make that call, I ask them what they're thinking of doing for the images. And then I suggest things the whole way through. And so by the time they come to the sales session, they already know what they want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying I don't get some people who come in and say, oh, I'm going to take 3 5x7s, and they walk. That happens. I've weeded them out. I used to get an extraordinarily high proportion of those, and I don't get hardly as many now, but I still get them. And I do get some clients that come in and they go, oh, I don't know what I want, and they don't, you know, that still happens too. So don't stress about those. What you just do is you just keep learning, and then you'll find that on the whole it starts to lean towards a more positive outcome.
Yeah, fantastic. And with your clients, the ones that are coming to you, where are they finding you primarily? Is it word of mouth or is it advertising?
Yes, word of mouth and Google, pretty much. I'm finding it's word of mouth and Google. I've only got 660 Facebook likes, so I'm pathetic in the world of Facebook. And I know I'm an anomaly there, but I just do great from Google. I think my website, obviously there's something about it that attracts a lot of people to it. So referrals and Google. And I find a lot of the Google people will come on and they'll actually have recognised someone in the galleries online. And go from there as well.
Fantastic. Well, I think we've covered a whole lot of things, and I think that what has been discussed should definitely help some people and hopefully create a bit of a conversation. So once we post this video, I'm hoping that, you know, you guys can ask questions, Lisa can answer some questions, and just create a bit more dialogue about all these different things that so we can all kind of grow together, which is fantastic. So thank you so much, Lisa, for your time.
No worries.
Thank you. Sacrificing the time with your kids I know in Perth it's dinner time, in Melbourne.
To be honest, my son was having a tantrum day today, so it was actually a pleasure to sacrifice dinner time tonight.
Oh, well, I appreciate it.
Sorry, honey, gotta go.
No, thank you so much, because it did mean that I could get my kids into bed so I could come out, so I do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No problem at all.
Thank you, Lisa.